But the overriding memory the emperor brought back with him from Egypt was a painful and heartbreaking one. The tragic death by drowning of his young friend Antinous, whom Hadrian subsequently had deified. Antinous was represented 8 times in large statues placed in monumental niches along the building. Beneath the sumptuous robes of the god Osiris, solemnly posed and under a heavy Egyptian headdress, it isn't easy to recognize the features of the young Antinous, with the attractive face and melancholic expression under the curly head of hair that other images have handed down to us. Rome, which had conquered Egypt, ended up allowing itself to be conquered by Egyptian culture and art, which it often tried to imitate in its architecture and statuary. This fragment of a shaft and capital of a column from the temple of the goddess Isis in the Campus Martius is a rare example of Roman interpretation of traditional Egyptian architecture. But it is in the religious sphere that Egypt's influence over Rome becomes especially apparent. The 3 statues sculpted in imitation of the Egyptian style represent a minor deity, Horus Zeus Cassius, worshipped at Pelusion in Egypt. The Roman emperors erected temples to the Egyptian divinities, as is proved by this marble bas-relief depicting the god Thoth. The emperor Marcus Aurelius had a temple built in honor of this deity in 173 AD. Then there's the famous votive statue of a baboon or macaque from the temple of Serapis, which stood in the Campus Martius in Rome. Found near the church of Santo Stefano, it ended up influencing the name of the building itself, which to this day is known as the Church of Santo Stefano del Cacco. The statues that line the long corridor of the museum, which takes its curved shape from the large niche outside, designed by Pirro Ligorio, demand special attention because of their historical interest and obvious artistic merits. They include the head of Pharaoh Motuhotep II, who lived about 2,000 years before Christ. It is a rare and splendid example of regal statuary art from the beginning of the Middle Empire. The 12 statues of the lion goddess Sekhmet are also very beautiful. They are a small part of the 730 statues of the goddess commissioned by Pharaoh Amenuphis II, who lived during the first half of the 14th century BC, for the temple of Mut in Karnak to stand guard over the days and nights of the year. The torso of Hor-Huja, the high priest of Ra, the sun god, comes from Heliopolis and is datable to 600 BC. That of Pharaoh Nectanebo I, one of Egypt's last native-born rulers who lived between 380 and 362 BC, is finely crafted. The statue of the bull Api comes from Memphis and is truly outstanding. It is said that the work of the late period and of unknown origin once belonged to Francesco Piranesi, son of the famous engraver. It is said that to the three statues depicting Queen Tui, mother of Ramesses II, King Ptolemaeus Philadelphus, who was of Greek origin, and his wife and sister Arsinoe II, who was deified after her death, the Emperor Caligula, who had them brought to Rome, added a fourth, and that she bears the likeness of his sister Drusilla, whom he married and had deified after her death. The last statue in the semicircle is the imposing bust of the god Serapis, which was found in Rome and dates back to the 2nd century AD. Every culture, and the Egyptian culture is no exception, not only expresses itself in refined works of art, but also in the production of popular artworks which often have a religious dimension as well. Like these small bronze statuettes of sacred animals and deities, which were reproduced by the thousand and left in the temples by the faithful. Other statues in terracotta are typical examples of Alexandrine craftsmanship and offer a wide range of themes. Deities common to popular religion, animals, caricatured portraits, infinite varieties of anecdotal subjects, Africans and Arabs depicted with surprising realism, and still more bronze statuettes of deities and different personalities, as well as a series of utensils. This votive Aegyptiis and this jar, which would have contained the sacred waters of the Nile, must have belonged to wealthier worshippers. Rare and interesting is this incense burner, made in the shape of an open hand holding the dish for the coals. The grains of incense scattered thereon were kept in a small recipient in the center. The magic character of the Egyptian religion is underscored by this lovely stele with its illustrations and formulas which, if uttered, were believed to have the power to cure snake bites or scorpion stings. Egypt, an extraordinary land and first of the world's kingdoms. Its grandiose monuments and tiny testimonies of everyday life continue to recount its fascinating history of civilization, one which had such a profound influence on the great European cultures of the Mediterranean.